serious right now. Like, I should be the one crying. You're the one that's saying no. You're the one that's giving up. People can aim so high and they'll never receive what they really want out of life or be okay with who they are and where they are in life. So
I have to agree with Kirsten. I don't get why Shaq is crying. She should be the one who's crying because he's humiliated her after leading her on. I don't get why he's crying. Anyway, hey there, it's Valerie. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 21. I don't get it. I really don't get why we needed this episode, really. I don't get why they needed to extend for Shaq's decision to be today. Everybody was shocked. Dr. Pepper, you could see, was very disappointed. Shaq led Kirsten on. He liked the idea of her saying yes and him saying no. The night before he left, he was busy cuddling her and laying on her and making it seem like they were okay. And he was saying he needs things to be at 100%. And so whatever, he would make a decision on the day. And giving Kirsten the impression that he would say yes, and you could see the disappointment on Dr. Pepper's face. You could see the disappointment on Pastor Carl's face. And Pastor Carl was right to say he will never get a woman as good as Kirsten is. Yes, Kirsten has her problems, but she's not that bad. These are things they could have worked on. I think she was right to say that they need more than 8 weeks to sustain a marriage or to make a decision as to whether or not their marriage will succeed. I said this before when I said Karen from New Orleans had said the only reason she was able to say yes was because they had more time because they were in lockdown, so she got to know more of Miles and was able to open up, and this is why she realized that he was actually a great guy. I'm heartbroken for Kirsten. I am heartbroken because Shaq led her on. For him to appear disappointed, it doesn't make sense. And then to ask her for a hug. For what? For what? You said she wasn't it. Keep it moving. There's no need for you to want to hug her. There's no need for you to want to smile at her. You could see that Kirsten just did it for the sake of it, but she wasn't in it. She just wanted to leave. I'm so upset with this. Aries and Jasmine. I'm pleasantly surprised, really, because they were very cordial when they were packing up the stuff and sort of leaving their apartment. They seemed to leave on a good note. They seemed to leave as friends. And Aries was saying, "Oh, can I come and visit the dog?" I think that the reason why Aries didn't like Jasmine was because she was too good for him, and he knew that. And he didn't want a proper wife. He wanted someone who was for the streets, because as soon as he's packed his stuff and gone to his place, the next thing he's talking to his roommate about his roommate's girlfriend trying to hook him up with someone, and it's like, seriously, the ink has barely dried on your divorce papers. You're already thinking of hooking up with someone else, and you're saying you don't care what they look like. But you had Jasmine. Jasmine is amazing. What do you mean by, oh, I don't care whether they're tall, short, fat, thin? He just wants someone to hook up with. That's the impression that I got. And the disrespect for him to continue to say that. So are you hooking me up with someone today? Are you hooking? It's very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. Given the fact that he's just broken up with Jasmine, he's treated her like she's not the most attractive of people. She's not this, she's not that. And then he says, oh, anything will do. It's like, really? Really? Is that what we're going to say? I don't get it. And then Clint and Gina. Clint and Gina, I don't even know why they needed to push it until this episode. Clint and Gina should have been divorced right on their honeymoon. That's when they should have got divorced. They pack up their stuff. You can see Clint is really going to miss the dog. The dog is really going to miss Clint. I think they've become really attached and really close. Gina agrees that Clint can, visit visit her dog, or she can sort of drop him off from time to time if she's going away. They live in the same building, so it does make sense. And I think it's hit Clint very hard that he's now single. He's 41, and he has to try again to see if he can find a life partner. I like the fact that he said with some of the information he's learned along the way, he's wondering whether maybe it's worth revisiting some of his previous relationships. And I have to give him credit for that, because he's really grown, I think, as a person. And I hope he continues to put in the work, even if he's not with Gina. I don't think Gina was for him. I think as soon as she made the ginger comments, she checked out. So there was no need for him to even bother wasting his time with her. Gina on the other party saying, "Oh, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for something new." And it's like, just tell us you're seeing Mac already. Oh, I don't have any heartbreak. I don't have anyone. So why did you go through this whole process? Why did you waste 8 weeks of production just to say, as soon as the next day, I need to start dating. I need to start doing this. Her friend even didn't censor her to say, I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. I think Gina was just in for advertising her business, and I have to give it to production and editing. They didn't show her talk about her business today. Not once did she talk about her business. All she did was talk about, oh, I'm ready to go out there. I'm ready to look for someone. I'm ready to date. I don't have any heartbreak. And it's like, oh my God, give us a break. And then Nicole and Chris. Nicole and Chris, for me, I think Nicole is on a high, and she's going to, when reality hits, she's really going to be surprised, because they do move into Chris's place, because apparently he has the bigger bed. They signed their lease agreement for their new place, and it's like, okay. And the fact that she was saying, oh, do you want us to open a joint account so that we can put the money in there? And Chris was like, nah, just transfer the money into my account. And you could tell that Chris still has hesitations. Chris, everything that's being done with this marriage is being done to please Chris, to appease Chris. As long as Chris is happy, Nicole is happy, because Nicole wants to be married to Chris. So whatever he says goes. If he says, let's open a joint account, they will open a joint account. If he says no, they won't open a joint account. And it's just, oh God, I don't get it. We didn't see Mac. He's going house shopping. And it's like, why? Why are we being shown this? We didn't even need to see him. We didn't even need to see him house hunting. The only thing we got to see was Kirsten is the one who was sort of advertising the house he went to see. He seemed impressed with the house. I think the house is too big for someone who's just on their own. Even his friends said that. But hey, what do I know? Maybe just Mavs wanted him to appear to be looking for a house, to be moving away, sort of as part of his storyline, or as part of his arc, because that's one of the reasons why Dom sort of didn't want anything to do with him. I'm sorry, but was it just me? The group event was uncomfortable to watch, very uncomfortable to watch, especially the dynamics of Dom and Mac, and then Gina and Mac, and then once Nicole introduced the idea of Mac and Gina, the way Clint was, and it was just uncomfortable. Anyway, here we go. So the couples are catching up. They're finding out who said yes on decision day, who said no. Nicole and Chris, everybody knew they were going to say yes. So Nicole now feels, she's the high and mighty. So she's going to run the conversation in the group. She's asking everybody to catch up. And they sort of ask Mac, are you dating? And he says, yeah, I've been on a couple of dates. And you can see Dom's eye roll. I think there was more to the Dom and Mac situation that happened than we know and than we'll ever find out. And they'll never reveal exactly what was the reason behind them divorcing. I think Dom must have wanted something from Mac, and Mac wasn't able to reach that expectation, and this is why she divorced him. Or I don't know. Anyway, Dom reveals that she's got a dog, although Gina highlights that how is your dog, and it's just like, okay. Anyway, we really don't need to catch up. Aries and Jasmine seem in good books. Although I don't know how Jasmine will feel when she finds out that Aries, 2 days after decision day, was already asking his housemate's girlfriend to set him up with someone. That's going to be a bit awkward. They seem to be friends. They seem to really have left on a good note. And then Clint and Gina, everybody knows that they're divorced. It was something that was just pushed for the rest of the episode. But everybody knew that that relationship wasn't going there. Although Clint joked that, oh, we've decided to continue. And everybody was just like, and you could see on Gina's face, she didn't appreciate. He was just joking. He was trying to lighten the mood. And then came Kirsten and Shaq. It was uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but Shaq played himself. He played himself because he said no to Kirsten, waited until they had this group event, didn't say anything to her. I think the least he should have done is send her an I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't get the opportunity to tell you in advance that this is my decision was going to be a no. I apologize and I hope we can make things work. Because when they were asked, he said, it came from his heart, it came down to decision day, and he prayed about it, and what came out of his mouth is just what came out. And so this is where he is. He said no. And Kirsten I felt we needed more than 8 weeks to see if we can really make our marriage work. But hey, it is what it is. And then Jasmine had to ask, so is this the end for you two, or do you think it's a no for now, and you're going to see if maybe in the future you can rekindle? And Kirsten was right to say, we said no, it's time to move on. And Shaq is like, you could see his face, he was heartbroken when she said it's time to move on, because I think he expected her to sit there and wait for him, to sort of come back to her and say, okay, let's try and give it a shot, and or let's leave it at that. No, if you were that interested in her, you should have sent her a couple of messages, even just some flowers to say, I am sorry for what happened. You could see on his face that he was upset and he was really heartbroken by the fact that she said no. Oh, I don't think it's a no as yet. I think maybe there is a possibility that in the future. No, you humiliated her by saying no without giving her a heads up. So you can't expect her to suddenly turn around and say yes. If you're going to win her back, you will have to work really hard to win her back. And then Nicole decides to introduce the idea, after Dom leaves, the idea of Mac and Gina going out on a date. And it's like, why? The disrespect. Imagine if you had divorced Clint and then somebody hinted that Clint should go on a date with somebody else. How would you feel? You'd be flipping tables. You'd be very upset. That was uncalled for. I think somebody needs to. I think Nicole is in for a rude awakening, because if her marriage doesn't succeed, given how she was all high and mighty to everyone in the group, she's going to be so humiliated and is going to struggle to sort of hold her head up again, because it's sort of like she's looking down on everybody else, that look at us, we're the ones that succeeded, we're the ones who said yes on decision day, we are this. And yet she forgets that her marriage is not as stable as she thinks it is. Her idea of what's going on in a marriage and what we see as viewers is not as is. There is a lot of problems. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull Lindy and Miguel and divorce after a year, because I think unless they're open and unless they come in as their real self, there is going to be a lot of problems. But anyway, I digress. I don't know. This episode was a waste of time. I don't even know why we got to see it. Really, I don't even know why, because there was nothing new that we learned apart from just watching people pack their bags and go home. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.